Hello, everyone. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and I am Cece Schatz, the doyenne of relationship building, and I am so pleased to have you with us tonight. You are on the Going Solo with Cece show, and what I want to do before we start anything is do a little homework, right? I'd like to ask you very much to like us right here on Facebook. If at the end of the show or beginning the show or in the middle of the show, please just say that you like the show. We would love that. Also, I would like to ask you to join our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, where we're now live on YouTube. And so I'm really thrilled about that. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I would like to invite you to do that so that you're right there up front and you have all of our wonderful shows right as they're launched. And we're just so pleased to be able to grow this way and to embrace singles. And that's what it's all about. WGSN-DB Going Solo Network is the #1 internet singles talk channel, and I love it. We're just like a network, and we just keep growing leaps and bounds with brand new hosts and brand new shows and wonderful guests. And we're not going to take any more time. We're going to bring her right forward tonight. We have with us tonight, we have Kim Green. And Kim, I'm going to bring you up here, and we're going to share your information. It takes a few minutes to get her to come back on the channel here. Well, Kim Green is a certified somatic trauma therapist, a national speaker. She's an educator, an author, and a grassroots influence. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Cece, for having me. I'm really excited to be on your show tonight. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, you are an awesome person. Now, you and I met in New York, and you were just beaming. I tell you, you know how you meet people and you just see the light, you just feel the connection. And that's what our station is all about, is really connecting with each other, helping each other move forward. And I'm just really, really pleased with having you on board. We seem to really connect with understanding where singles are going today, and maybe some of the things that we can try to help them move forward in that won't be quite so painful. So I want to thank you for being on the show. But can you tell me how you got into being a certified somatic trauma therapist, and what exactly does that mean?
So I was very fortunate. At a young age, I had a really traumatic life. I know that most people would say, how is that fortunate? But I was very fortunate because that really set me up to do what I'm doing now. So when I was about 19 or 20, I met a woman. She was an older woman who was Penobscot Indian, and she took me under her wing, and she really shared with me how to heal on a very, very deep level. And then I met another woman who was a Lakota Sioux woman who she took me under her wing as well, and she would help me with touch, and so. And this was before schools. This was like 30 some years ago. And she would help me. And every time she touched me, I would just cry. And I would grieve and grieve and grieve all the things that happened to me. But when I came out on the other side, I just felt so light and so whole from what these two women shared with me. So I took what they taught me, I combined them, and I kind of created my own form of somatic body work. It's called somatic trauma release, and it's a way of working with people to teach them how to accept safe and appropriate touch again if they've been abused, or even just if you're going through a hard time. People need touch when they're grieving, and divorce is a very, very big grief and loss in our life. So I basically, with the students I teach in my school, I basically teach them how to give compassionate, loving touch, but bring out that grief in people so they can have the experience that I did and come out on the other side. So thank you so much for telling me that I beam. That's why, because these two women helped me heal.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It is so true, because so often when we're going through a relationship loss of any sort, whether it be by death or divorce,
Yeah.
we're just so broken, and especially if we've gone through a trauma, such as divorce, and I know that sometimes there's a lot of abuse within that, and a lot of trust is broken, and it's really hard for the people to move forward in their lives. So I agree with that. We hug a lot in my divorce support group. Everybody gets a hug because I feel like we all need it, and it's just sharing that connection. It's that other life. It's a connecting the soul of someone else, which is pretty awesome.
Well, and relationships heal in a dramatic way. And so when you have those relationships with others who are going through similar things as you, and you really talk to them and they reach out, and I'm so glad you have this divorce support network, because that is a very, very healing gift that you're giving to so many people who listen to you and watch you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Well, let's move on to our topic tonight, because I thought it was very interesting about rebound dating and the hazards of rebound relationships. And so often this does happen. Sometimes there's a pattern within our lives if we jump from one relationship to another one. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this particular topic.
Well, I've worked with rebound dating a lot, and I've worked with people who have been in abusive situations or lost, loved ones to death and divorce. So one of the things that really happens that we sabotage ourselves with is rebound dating. It's actually one of the worst things that you can do for your situation when you first become newly single, regardless what reason. I see a lot of articles out there written by professionals that say, it's healthy to rebound date, go ahead, get out there again. And I say, no, it's unhealthy, because as soon as you meet somebody, the endorphins start going on in your head and going off in your head. And these are the love chemicals. And so what happens is you're actually getting a fix. You're not really helping yourself at all. You're getting a fix. You're hitting the pause button on what's really going on in your life. You're hitting the pause on your pain. And whenever you hit pause in pain, then it actually just sits there waiting to come back to you. And so, you can maybe be in a relationship for 6 months, and then all of a sudden, the grief comes back around your past relationship, and you no longer want that person any longer. And so you break your own heart, but you also break other people's hearts when you rebound date. Most rebound relationships do not last. And it's really using another person as a drug, so that way you don't have to feel your grief. And that's what alcohol, drugs, anything like that does. So what do you think about that, Cece?
No, I totally agree with that. And I also feel that sometimes when we step into another relationship before healing, what happens is that we're kind of stepping into the same kind of relationship, because we haven't really figured out what happened with the last one. And so I think that we do have to figure that out. We do have to think about it. I found that I've been married a couple times, and I found that the first guy I married and my ex-husband were very similar. They had very similar traits. I mean, they might have been different, and from different. My ex is from England and from UK citizen, and so very, very different backgrounds. But the way they treated me and their thought pattern was exactly the same, and eventually became abusive. And not necessarily the first one became violent too, but the last one didn't. But he was abusive in many, many ways. And sometimes I wonder if that the ways he was abusive was even more scarring than the others. But for me to step back now and say, whoa, wait a minute, I realized the similarities. So number one, I wasn't healed when I moved forward. And then the other thing is that I didn't really catch some of the things that weren't really good for me, and so that means I didn't know enough about myself. And when I talk with others, they're expressing the same thing when they've gone from a relationship to a relationship. So they found that they've done the same thing. And it's basically a rebound type of relationship. So you're just trying to move through your life. You're trying to move forward. And a lot of times you're doing that because your other partner's already done it, and so you feel like you have to do it too, right?
Oh, definitely. And there's that sense of, oh my gosh, he's moved on and he's already found somebody, or she's already found somebody, and look at how happy they are. Well, that's actually not true. They might be high from the endorphin rush that they get from being with somebody, but deep down, they haven't really allowed themselves to grieve. And so that happiness is short-lived. It's a chemical high. And so, and I see that so much, and kind of like what you were sharing, how there was a pattern of behavior, with the certain people that you chose. When we are vulnerable, when we are at our worst, at a loss, we really want someone to come in and help us a lot of times, and to ease our pain. So we don't have good discernment skills when we start dating right away after we're in a rebound relationship. And so it's so important to give yourself that time to heal, so that way you're not vulnerable. And I will tell you, working with victims of violent crime, victims of stalking, domestic violence, for such a long time, especially with the online dating thing that happens now, 40% of online men and women are predators at this point on the freer sites, not necessarily the sites that you have to pay for, but on the free sites, 40% are predators. So that's what we have to look at. And if you're vulnerable, you're not going to see those red flags, and you're going to get into a bad situation.
So describe to me what a predator is. So those out that are listening, what do you mean by that?
So working with the police department for such a long time, and working with the victims of violent crime through the DA's office here in Colorado Springs and El Paso County, we look for people who are doing predatory behaviors, such as they're going to be love bombing you. They're going to tell you that you are the best thing in the world. You're the best thing that ever happened to them. So they're going to love bomb you instead of taking their time to get to know you. How do they know you're the best thing if they've only met you twice? They don't. So those are kind of predatory behaviors that you have to look for. The other thing that you have to look for is those people who say, well, I'm open to whatever happens, right? That's usually a predatory behavior that's kind of related to sex and getting that kind of gratification instantaneously. They aren't saying, I'm open to really being in a committed, fulfilling, loving relationship. They're saying, I'm open to whatever happens. So those are the things you have to look for. Another form of predatory behavior is, and this is what I've done, because I've been single for 16 years, and I actually like my single life, but I've dated online. First thing I do is I say, hey, tell me true. Do you have any kind of a criminal background record? And surprisingly, about 3 out of every 10 men do. And so, but they're telling me the truth. And I also look for different signs. If I'm out with them, how many drinks are they having? Are they talking about drinking all the time in their pictures? Do they always have a drink in their hand? So those are the kinds of things that you really want to look for, because there are some wonderful people with online dating. I'm not saying there aren't, there are, but you do have to be very careful. If they start trying to ask you about your children right away, that is also another sign of predatory behavior that you have to be aware of and be careful of, especially as a single woman. And single men. Single men, more and more predatory behavior is coming at single women or single men with really beautiful women, then blackmailing them later, saying that they've done something inappropriate with them. So please pay me, or I'm going to call the police on you. So that's a big thing for men too. So, so just take your time, get to know people, talk to them online for a while, really, vet them, look up their Facebook page, those kinds of things. It's really important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if we're moving forward, to me, when I first start dating online, the first thing I do is I want to meet them right away, because if they can't meet you, then they're just a scam, so
Yeah.
they're not real. And then as soon as I meet them, then I want to know all their information so that, you know, if it goes any further. See what I mean? As soon as I get on here.
I know. What was so funny? Earlier, my little dog came in and my daughter came in too. So, you
Well,
know.
maybe someone's calling in. We do have a call in. WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Can I help you? You're live on the radio. Hello? Hello? Nope. Well, that's one way to get rid of a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do have a call in. If anyone does want to call in, I'll put it in here, right here. You can just call us on 727-238-8970. I almost forgot to post that. So it's 727-238-8970. If you are listening to this show live, you can give us a call. If you're listening to it as a rebroadcast, please don't call.
Well, and the other thing too, you can always give your callers a stink eye, like I just did with my daughter a little bit. She came in and like she's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, but no, it really, I'm just kidding. So if anyone does want to call, that is our station phone number. So you're welcome to give us a call. But, you know, about rebound relationships, I think to me, I have to kind of think about it in two segments. I have to think about it as my healing, you know, individual. And then I would have to think about it as we're moving forward into dating. And so, you know, number one, the first thing is making sure that we're healed, you know, and that we understand more about our relationship. Because I've often said, I don't feel that we can truly move forward in our lives unless we truly understand the part we played in the demise of our relationship. And so we all play a part in it. And so maybe our partners, you know, was a little wacky or whatever, you know, whatever their circumstances was theirs. But in order for us to move forward, we have to really start recognizing and owning our own. And so, and by doing that, it releases us from, you know, any of the, you know, like you were in an abusive relationship or anything like that, it releases you from that because you realize that, you know, you've done all that you can do to be able to move forward. And, you know, maybe there's the areas within the relationship you could have done better, and you will next time when that comes forward. But if you don't spend that time, Kim, being able to really evaluate yourself, get down to the core, your core values, what's important to you, you won't really go anywhere, will you?
No, not at all. You are so very correct. So this is the rule of thumb that I always share with people, right? No romantic intrigue, right? So this is another way we sabotage ourselves. We say, well, we're not going to date, but we're still going to go out. We're still going to get that number. We're still going to flirt. We're still going to do things. So I always say no romantic intrigue. If it was maybe a 2-year relationship, okay, so give yourself a good 6 months to a year, but there's really not a time frame on healing. If you were with somebody for a decade or longer, you know, just allow yourself a year to 18 months to really heal, and don't have that romantic intrigue. You know, and what I mean by romantic intrigue is finding those people who you can text, who you can flirt with. You know, just keep it at friends, because you have to start to understand who you are. And you're exactly right. Each partner brings 100% of themselves into that relationship. So you have to figure out fully, what did I do? What was my 100% of this relationship that really kind of messed things up? Because you don't want to take that into your next relationship with you. And the other thing too is after you've been dating, or after you've been single for a while and you say, okay, I want to start dating, you uphold your same rules to the people you date, because then that's another way that we sabotage our healing, is we get involved with somebody who isn't healed either. So we have two unhealed people coming together trying to create a relationship, and it doesn't work. It never does.
Yeah, that is so true. And that's really honoring ourselves when we do that. I mean, so often I've come across those that are still in, going through the divorce or still going through some of this stuff. And being, a divorce coach, I can see right away, okay, this is not good. This isn't going to be good for me in the end. But, but so then I put on the other hat and I said, I'm happy to be your friend and, help you through any times. But a relationship is not something that we could do. And I think that that's important because I think we're honoring ourselves as we move forward in our lives. And so we want to, the more we can do, to really keep us centered is really the best thing. So, yeah, I agree with that. I so love you. I think we're just right on the same, we're on the same wavelength on exactly how we feel about things. And that's just wonderful. So I do appreciate it. We're going to have to, Kim, we're going to have to take a quick break. So when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit about the new book that you're going to be launching here shortly. I think that would really help people be able to maybe move forward in their lives and really connect a little bit more. So what we're going to do is let's just take a quick break. And I just want to thank you all for listening to us. You are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is Going Solo with CC show, and I am CC Schatz. I'm the doyenne of relationship building, and I would love to hear from you if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to share, any further information. Of course, you can reach me right here on my email, which is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And also we've got, our websites if you want to get some further information. We've got everything on our goingsolonetwork.com site with all the things that we do. And also we have a brand new site that's helping those through divorce and relationship loss. I call it our transition site because it helps you through that transition of moving forward in your life. And we have many coaches that are on the show, on the site that will help you. So if you're interested in wanting more information on that, that's goingsolonextstep.com. And of course, you guys know you're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are the #1 internet singles talk network. And our website is goingsolomedia.com. You are listening live on our Facebook page and on our YouTube. Please like us and subscribe to our channel. We would love that. So let's get back to our show, right? Because we got a lot we're talking about and we don't want to miss a beat. Absolutely. Tonight we have with us Kim M. Green. She's a certified somatic trauma therapist. She's a national speaker. She's an educator, an author, and grassroots influencer. She's a delight. We have been talking with her the first part of the show, and we've covered a lot of ground, an absolutely lot of ground. Our topic tonight has been, it's rebound. Let's put it up here. Our topic is rebound dating and the hazards of the rebound relationships. First part of the show, we talked a little bit about that. We talked about your core healing, moving forward in dating. And so welcome back, Kim, to the show.
Oh, thank you. And I'm excited to get back into the second part of this.
Yeah, me too. Because you know what? You've got a new book that when I met you in New York, we were talking about that. And I also want to give them the information, your contact information too, as we move forward here. But this new book you have, let's put it up here. It's When Surrender Happens, Miracles Appear, and the Wellness Way, the R Evolution. And I love that. I love when miracles happen, miracles appear. So tell us a little bit about that. What is your journey on writing this book? Why are you writing it? What is it? Tell us.
Well, I think that a lot of people get stuck in grief after they have loss. And as I was sharing in the first half of the show, I was raised in a very traumatic background. But then at 17, I had a boyfriend get killed. And we'd been together quite a while, and then we split up and we're just getting back together again the night before he got killed. And so after he died, I just went into this place where I grieved and I grieved and I grieved and I got stuck in it because you can get stuck in your grief. And so that's one of the things about this book that I was writing. I would dream about him a lot. And he would help me in my dreams. And so when I really surrendered all my grief, all my pain over to, what I believe in is like a higher power, God, whatever, people want to believe in. Um, then that was just lifted from me. And so, and one of the dreams I had about Roland, and he was so vibrant, he was so much fun. We probably would have ended up getting married had he not gotten killed in that car wreck. But that's part of what the book is about. And I had this dream about him, and he was in this church, and he didn't even like going to church, but he loved to sing. And in this dream, he was singing to me, "Find joy in the sorrow." And so that's one of the small stories that I have in this book, is just really my healing process of grieving, as well as it's a workbook too. So if people are having a hard time moving through, and it's a very spiritually based book, if they're having a hard time moving through, what are the things that you can do to really look at yourself in order to move through that grief? So that's part of what's in that book.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you. But, like you said, miracles appear. And
They do.
yeah, it is amazing what happens as you move forward through sorrow. And yeah, I totally understand it. And I want to thank you so much for expressing it today with us on the show, and then also writing this terrific book. And so the book will be out, what, about 3 weeks, you think? 4
Yeah,
weeks?
we were supposed to launch yesterday, but we had a little bit of a glitch. So it'll probably be out in the next 3 to 4 weeks, on my school website, which I own and operate a school where I teach what I do. So we're just putting it in there as well. And I do want to go, and I want to share this with you. Most people have one boyfriend that dies in a lifetime. I've had two. And so that's also another part of that book. How do you come back and really have faith and trust in life again after two significant men die in your life? So that's one of the things that I really want to share with people. You can heal through it, and you can get to the other side, and you can be joyful and vibrant again.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I realize that death, and when you have a relationship loss, and even from divorce, it's a
Oh,
relationship loss. It's like it's
divorce is a death. Yeah,
yeah.
it's the same as, it's the same as going through a death. The divorce, it feels like death, because our bodies don't know the difference between, a real death or a perceived death of an ending. And so I never tell people, or I always share with people, never compare your pain or your grief to anyone else's, because what you're going through is significant. And so divorce is like a little death to people, because it's an ending.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, to me, when I've been asked about the differences, and generally it's the difference is rejection.
Yes.
Often, when you have a death, you're not necessarily rejected. It's something that happens, and it's part of life. We all know that it's going to happen, but you never think it's going to happen to someone you love.
Yeah.
The difference of divorce is you love someone, and generally you're rejected, and your
Yeah.
trust is broken, and then you're starting to try to rebuild your life, on that, and that's hard. It's hard to be able to move forward in that, but things happen in life and we don't always understand why. And I'm a firm believer that there's a learning experience in everything that happens for us, whether it's, good or bad or sad or ugly or whatever it might be. There's something there in which for us to take away. And you've definitely done this in your sorrow. And so I want to thank you. I'm interested in the book and how it's going to come about. So I hope that you'll let our readers know when it is published. So if they want some information. Now, your information is on our elite guest status. And so you have your own page there. So if everyone wants more information, just go to goingsolomedia.com for information. Kim's information is there with the links and everything. And so when the book is in production, then you certainly can let us know there. But I think we can also contact you on your website, right? So I'm going to give up that
Yeah.
information. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Okay. So if anyone wants to give Kim a call, it's Kim M. Green, and her phone number is 719-231-5715. Again, that phone number is 719-231-5719. Her email is Kim, Kimm, Green, Green, 2 at msn.com. I'm going to repeat that because I kind of mucked it up. So it's KIMMGREEN 2 at msn.com. Her website is www.advancedtherapyinstitute.net. So that's www.advancedtherapyinstitute.net. That's a lot.
That is a long name, isn't it? I'm
I know, but
well,
when we're on audio, this show will, and those of you that know our station, the show will turn into audio. Then we go on our WGSN live streaming radio, and it gets played there. They can't see it, so we have to read it. So I want to thank you for bearing with us on that. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're moving forward in your life, and what's up next for you.
Well, I've actually, I never can write one thing at one time. I have to do multiple projects simultaneously. So I also have the Wellness Way Revolution, and this comes to really kind of like the third fact of how do we sabotage ourselves in relationships, right? And as well as in our healing from divorce. One of the things that we sabotage ourselves when we're going through divorce is our health. So the Wellness Way Revolution, which is on my website at advancedtherapyinstitute.net, it's also a book that I have been writing on how do you keep yourself healthy? How do you really find that professional who's going to work with you that you can trust? The other thing too is I have this little woman. She has kept me healthy for 25 years. She's taught me incredible amounts of information. And this is one of the things that we want to give your readers. And it'll be launching also about the same time as When Surrender Happens. But if you go and you sign up on the pop-up, and you put CC in the name, then when I come out with that compendium, it's a compendium of all of our knowledge. So there's a bunch of knowledge on how to stay healthy, on diet, on old time remedies that no one's ever heard of before. So that's another thing that we're doing. So what do you do when you can't, you're sick at home, but you have a little bit of a cold? What can you do for that? How do you make remedies? How do you make your own tinctures? How do you make your own colloidal silver? All of those things. So this is some of the knowledge that it's our gift to everybody. And Vivian is putting her 92 years of experience and all of that into this compendium. And it's actually our gift to the world. We're just going to give it away. We're not going to charge for it. And that's really what we want to do. It's very, very important to me to teach the next generations how to take care of themselves.
Oh, that's very valuable. That's very important. And I do know that when we're traveling through any kind of trauma, any kind of relationship loss at all, we definitely, our health takes a hit. We either lose weight or we gain weight, or, illnesses happen. And so we're just in such devastation. Sometimes we just don't do the right things by our bodies. And so this is terrific that you're doing this. And I hope that the listeners out there will have it on the goingsolomedia.com too. And the link there, that will link to your website for this free offer. And so I hope that people will take advantage of that and let you know that they've listened on our show. We'd appreciate that. But more than anything, to be able to get something that will help them will be pretty awesome. So I want to thank you for that. That's a gift you're giving. And so that's wonderful for doing that, giving back. So I appreciate that. So it's great.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Like I said, I've known Vivian for 25 years, and she has helped me through a lot of my own grief when my relationship fell apart with my daughter's dad after 12 years. She
Mhm.
really helped heal my heart through healing my body with food. Because I was always the one who I would always lose weight when I went through grief, and she didn't allow me to do that. So it's really important. Depression happens when we are going through grief, when we go through divorce, and especially if we're starving our bodies, then that means we're starving our brains. And our brains have to have proper nutrients in order to feed them so that way serious depression doesn't set in. So it's very, very important that we don't sabotage ourselves by not eating or eating the wrong things, because we have to feed that brain. We have to feed our bodies, because depression happens when we're not eating correctly.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. I know that when I was going through my divorce, I became very ill,
Mm,
and I think
mhm.
it was the fact of all that I was going through in the relationship. And so, yeah, we really do need to take care of ourselves more and more, especially as we're getting a little bit older, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I just hit 51 this year, and so, and I realized that I haven't taken care of my body the way I probably should have. I should have been a little bit more diligent, even considering, I'm a holistic practitioner, and I teach holistic health. So, but even so, we all fall down. We're all only human, and I like my cheesecake and my ice cream. What can I say?
Yeah, well, me too. Unfortunately, it's catching up with me, but I mean, the thing is, we want to live our life to the best we can, and we want to live it as long as we possibly can. So, health is something we have to get real about. And I know that I need to get real. And all my friends, we're all talking about it. It's like the buzzword now about health. And so, I think it's great. I think it's a great thing that you're bringing it forward, making us aware. And we're doing more shows on them now here on the Going Solo Network, because we just want people to embrace their health, and we want them to live longer. We love them. We want to keep our
Oh,
listeners living much longer and healthier and enjoying life. So,
oh,
yeah.
very much so. One of the things that I would like to share a little bit, because most of the people in the United States they don't know this, is that there are only 11 states in the United States where holistic health is actually legal to practice. The other 39 states, it's completely illegal. In your state, it's actually illegal for people to practice holistic health. So that's another thing that we're working on right now. I helped make it legal in Colorado and New Mexico. So we're trying to get those other 39 states to come in where they embrace holistic health, and they really allow practitioners to do what their passion is, instead of keeping them as felons. It's a felony to practice in many states.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean,
I
I'm not even aware of that. So, because it's not something that I cover. But yeah, I didn't know it. But it's so. I mean, gosh, we want to have all different options, to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to heal ourselves. And so we definitely need to do that. And I know that I have a very good friend that has cancer that's been struggling for years. And I know that she goes outside of the state in order to get
Yeah.
help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think that's why she's lived so long.
Mhm.
She's definitely, she's a fighter. So that's for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about vibration, because I think
Yeah.
you and I are on the same wavelength, that when we work on ourselves, when we create a wholeness within our being, it kind of raises our vibration. And I feel very passionate about this, because I do feel that when we do that, if we stop and we don't date and we don't have another partner in our life where we're focusing on them versus focusing on us, when we focus on ourselves, we start healing ourselves from within. It tends to raise our vibration. Then when we go out to meet someone, look for another partner in our life, or we want to embrace that, we're at this different plane and we attract greatness into our lives. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think vibration is really important, because if you look at how cells work together, right? Cells vibrate. When the cell is sick, it doesn't vibrate quickly. When a cell is healthy, it vibrates very quickly and pristinely, and it just emanates, right? And it can bring in nutrients, and it can, do everything it needs to do. So we are billions and billions and billions of cells, all vibrating very, very quickly. So when we're depressed, our vibration goes down. And when we are happy, our vibration goes up. And so, and it's kind of like attracts like. So we always want to have that higher vibration. We want to surround ourselves with vibration. They're doing studies right now in many, many different universities across the nation, where they're studying light, they're studying frequency, and they are studying vibration. And they're actually finding that what the holistic practitioners have said for 30, 50, actually thousands of years is true. So we do emanate a certain vibration. And when we're around a lower vibration, that will bring our own down. And when we're around people who have a higher vibration, that will bring it up. So when we're going through that grieving process, right, we really have to sit with our lower vibration in order to grieve through it, because there's toxic chemicals in tears. And when we cry, those tears and those toxins are released, and it slowly raises our vibration. And so it's really important during the grieving process to allow yourself to cry. So that way we can get those toxins out of our body, because that lowers our cellular vibration, which then lowers, the vibration when we want to connect with someone else.
Oh, that's good advice. And that I didn't know. I didn't know about the tears and the toxins. So that's something new for me. So that is really great information there. Well, I want to put your contact information up once again so everyone can reach out to you. Again, we have the Elite page for Kim, and it's Kim M. Green. So you can go to our goingsolomedia.com, find her Elite page, and all her links are on there. But if you want to contact her directly, please do so. Any further information that you would like to ask her or get from her, her information is Kim M. Green. Her phone number is 719-231-5715, and it's KIMMGREEN2@MSN.com. Her website is www.advancedtherapyinstitute.net. So I hope that you guys, if you want to reach out to her, I know you have some courses and things like that, don't you, that you could offer?
Yes, I do. I actually teach what I practice. And so we have a course that I'm getting ready to launch in a very large way. It's on auricular therapy. Sometimes, when we go through a divorce, our health starts to suffer. And so there's a way of working with your ear right here to actually stimulate different parts of your ear to help with depression, anxiety, PTSD, because divorce can definitely cause PTSD and different things. So you can take that live teleclass with me teaching it, or and I have people take that class all the time. It's a 1-day class. It's really a good class, and you can learn how to take care of yourself with it. And you can take it live, or we will have it online eventually, where you can just go in and do it at your leisure. Right now, I kind of like to do the live classes because then I get to interact with everybody and really talk to people about it. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's true. It's always a lot of fun. Well, gosh, our hour went very quickly, and I want to thank you, Kim, for being on the show here with us. You've been a delight. I hope you'll come back again, because I know there's many topics that we can talk a little bit further. And so I hope you'll come back on our Going Solo Network.
Oh, it was really lovely to have this conversation with you, and just to bring, I'm so glad you're here, Cece, to bring out the best way to heal from divorce, because I see people divorcing 2, 3, 4 times because they don't heal the first time. And so you're just a blessing to everybody. And I'm really glad that you're sharing your knowledge with people so they can truly heal.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Well, thank you for being on the show. It has been great. And I tell you, the time has gone by so quickly, I can't get over it. But you guys, I want to also make sure that you know how to reach us. If you have any questions, any comments you'd like to make on the show, our email is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. And then, of course, we have the sites. You can check us out, see all the different things that we do, goingsolonetwork.com, goingsolonextstep.com, and then of course the radio site, which is goingsolomedia.com. So we have a lot of .coms going on, I know, but that's the way it is when you're busy and you're trying to help people. I love you, and I hope that you'll join me right here again on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am CC Schatz, the doyenne of relationship building, and you've been listening to the Going Solo with CC show. I'll see you next week. Back here, same time, same place. Bye for now.